Yo guys, what is up? Total Recall Gamers here, and today is another awesome video. Today I'm going to be teaching you on how to make your own YouTube banner. Now this banner is going to be themed around the game CSGO, but you can use any game you want. You could do Minecraft, Gears of War, Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, whatever game you want, or any really other style. This is just a general tutorial, but I'm going to be making it specifically for CSGO. So the first thing you're going to need for this tutorial is a program called Gimp. Now, Gimp is right here on my computer, and it is absolutely free. You can go to a website, I think it's just gimp.org. If I go to it right now, and if you go to the website, you can just install Gimp 2.8. You just want to click this button right here, and you'll essentially just download it, go through the install window, blah, blah, blah. Very simple, and you'll get Gimp. And then from there, we also are going to be using something called script foo. Now, if you guys don't know how to get script foo, you can just search in script foo script for Gimp or whatever on Google, and you'll be able to download that and then add it to the right folder, etc., etc. If you're unsure on how to do any of this, guys, actually you can visit my first tutorial video on how to make your own YouTube logo. I go through installing script foo and installing Gimp on that tutorial if you guys need that. If you don't, we can go on to the second step, which is actually working on the banner. So the first step is going onto your web browser of choosing. I'm using Firefox, and you're going to go to Google, and we're going to be looking up some basic images. So the first image you're going to want to do is probably your main background of your banner. Now you can do something just basic like metal or a map or a screenshot or whatever, but for this we're going to be using CSGO, right? So we're going to type in CSGO and then maybe one of your favorite maps. So for example, I really like Mirage, so we're going to go type in CSGO Mirage. We're going to go to images, and then here's some screenshots of Mirage. Now, this one is 1920 by 1080, and you're going to want to pay attention to the size here. So that one's pretty good. This one's nice, and not bad at all. I really like this one for some reason. It stands out well, but it's not the best resolution. So we can look around for different sizes. This one's really nice. So we're probably, actually this one looks great. We're going to use this one right here. So when you find the one you like, you can just minimize your internet, Firefox or web browser, and you can drag the picture off the screen and then put it on your computer. It'll be called latest PNG usually. Rename it to Mirage, or not Mirage, but Mirage, and I can't even spell. All right, there we go. And then I would also recommend making a new folder on your computer, naming it like CSGO banner or YouTube banner, and then dragging all that stuff in the banner, or sorry, not in the banner, dragging all your stuff into that folder. And then we also like that, but we also have some other maps. So we have Inferno up here. So this is a cool map. I like this screenshot a lot. It's pretty decent size. So we'll use that one. We can drag it off, put this in here. And maybe one more. Nuke's always cool. So let's use that one. Let's do this one. Good size. All right, so we'll drag it in here. So now we have our three maps or whatever you want to do. Now we're going to be looking for weapons on what you kind of want to create as your foreground. You're going to want your name, and you're going to want a weapon for this style of tutorial I'm doing. So what's really cool is I'm going to type in Karambit, maybe Fade. Those are pretty sick looking knives. And you're looking for one that has a PNG. So what a PNG is it just has transparency to the layer. Now, we probably are going to want one with a hand like this right here. And you can find pictures like this, but that one's really low quality. So you're going to want to look for one that it's pretty high quality. This one's really good, but I kind of want it on the right side. That's low quality. That's pretty good quality right there. So, using this image right here, you're going to want to type in whatever thing you want. You could do Hyper Beast skin, you could do Op skin, whatever style. But essentially, we're going to remove the background from this image, and there's a really easy way to do that. It's just going to take some time. So we're going to take this picture, we're going to drag it off like the other ones, and save it to the folder. Pretty basic stuff. So from here, we're going to actually look at different fonts for your name. So if you guys go to defont.com, and the link will be down in the description, of course, this website has a crap ton of fonts. And one of them that I really like is called Blitzwing. So if we search that, Blitzwing, you'll find this font right here by Pixel Sagas. And you want to click download just like this, and you'll download a zip file that you're going to want to extract to your desktop, and then right click and download the different things. So I'll do it right there. I'll show you guys how you do this. It's going to do blitzwing.zip. Now, if you don't know how to open these files, it's a WinRAR zip or 7-zip. They're free programs. But you're going to save this to your computer and then drag it out to your desktop. And then from here, you can go right click and extract here. And this is going to extract all the fonts in this pack. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's a bunch of them. And then from here, all you have to do is right click on them and install, and it'll have this little shield showing that you have to be the administrator on your computer. So that's important, guys. Gotta make sure you're the administrator. So just right click and install those, and after that, you're already done. They'll be added into your Gimp directory to use. So I already have those all installed, so that's why I'm not installing it from there. And then from here, we're actually pretty much set to go. If you want social media logos in your banner, you can install those or get them off the internet. You can just look up social media icons if you want. And you can usually find packs of them like this that you can cut out and remove the backgrounds from. Actually, let's use this one. This one's pretty basic. I just typed in social media icons. We'll take this one and we'll steal it and put it in our folder because I feel like I should cover as much as I can for you guys, because I know that Photoshop and Gimp, they're not the easiest programs to learn, and it takes some time, and that's how I've taught myself, is just by doing it over and over again. So the next step then from here is loading up Gimp 2.8. So and you're gonna have to excuse me, this tutorial is gonna be a little bit lengthy, so feel free to pause, come back, slow down, pause the video. I'm gonna go at a decent pace because I don't want to drag this on for super long. But your Gimp's gonna open, and sometimes you won't have these little toolboxes. You might just get stuck with this screen. Go to Windows, dockable dialogues. Go to Layers, drag that to your right, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then also, we're gonna need Paths, and then the most important one is a toolbox, and drag that to your left. That's where I usually keep it. Maybe you can resize it just a little bit. And now here we begin. Actually, sorry. Right before we start, we also need a YouTube banner template. And now this is the biggest thing that I left out in my previous how to make your own YouTube banner. I've actually made 2 of those videos, but I never included these, and that was just a huge problem on my part. So what you're going to do is find one that says 2560 by 1440, and this is going to show you exactly like what part of your banner is going to be shown on mobile, tablet, desktop, or TV. So just click on this, or do this, and drag it out to your CSGO or YouTube banner folder, and then open back Gimp, and now we're going to get into the banner making. So, File, Create New, and then width 2560 by 1440. Sorry, 1440. Yep. And then Advanced Options, Color Space, or sorry, not Color Space. Fill with background color, transparency. Okay. So now this is going to open up your basic little template canvas for your beautiful art. So now, from here, we're going to go to File. We're going to go do Open as Layer, Desktop. Go back to that CSGO tutorial banner or your folder. And then go to that channel art template and open. And it's going to open up perfectly over the canvas we already set. If you don't get one that's the right size, you might have to scale it, but this should work perfectly. So if you're following what I'm doing, this should look just like this. Now from here, we're going to change the opacity by using this little click arrow. We're going to change it down to about 70%, just so you can see the lines. And then what's nice from here is we can already see like the lines, and they tell you like what actual dimension this is right here. So from here, what I usually like doing is having a center line that I can snap things to. So to do that, you have to go to Image, Guides, New Guide, and then it'll say direction horizontal or vertical. You want horizontal. And then what's half of 1440? Well, that is 720 if I'm not mistaken. So we'll type in 720. And by the way, this is a script foo thing. So if you didn't install ScriptFoo, you won't have this, I believe. So make sure you have ScriptFoo installed before you get to this part. Click OK. Now this isn't a necessity, but this will just help us by snapping things. Now it's created this blue line, which we can now snap objects to, and you'll see that in a little bit. So from here, we're going to go to File, Open as Layer, and then we're going to go to your background image of your main banner. So let's do, we're going to do Mirage, right? So we're going to open this, and as you can see, it's not the full size of the banner. To fix this, we can go over to the toolbox, go to the Scale tool, and then we're going to drag it to the sides. It doesn't matter if it goes over by a little bit. Just make sure it fits decently. The proportions might be a little bit off, so you might want to scale it up just a little bit. Just like that, looks pretty good. And then hit scale. And now what this done is it scaled it to make it bigger, and it kept pretty much all the quality of the picture, which is nice about Gimp. It's way it scales up is quite well. It doesn't really make it super blurry, which is awesome. And then from here, we're actually going to want to make sure that this art template is above this layer so you can see where it's cutting off. And then we're going to take the rectangle select tool, and you're going to drag a rectangle and then make it as close as you can to this line. It's right about there. But then we're going to go down to this layer so that the selection tool is over the Mirage layer, and then we're going to hit delete. And that's going to just totally chop off that top section of that picture. And then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom. So we're going to go up. We'll see the guideline. We'll create a new rectangle right about there. Make sure that this is on the right layer and delete. Delete. Come on. Oh, I just deleted the wrong image. So you can do edit, undo. There you go. Make sure it's on the right layer, like I said. Delete. There we go. And now you can click the fuzzy select tool, click off the screen, and that will remove all the jank. So what you're stuck with now is a banner, a basic banner that fits from the sides, and that will fit on all the devices to desktop max, which is awesome. And then from here, you can have your name, your knife, etc., etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to have that karambit fade in the center with your name, right? So from here, what we have to do is go to File, and you're actually probably going to have to hit Open, because I forgot that we have to actually do this step, which is removing the background from this image. So open this image, and it's going to open up a totally new window, so you're going to have to minimize that and open this one. And then this is where fun things have to happen. So you're going to go to this tool right over here in your toolbox called Paths tool. All right. And this is a pretty difficult process. If you screw up, just undo, and you're going to have to follow along. It's not the easiest thing, but what we're going to do is we're going to start creating paths. Set your view to like 150% just so you can see the edges of the picture, and then start clicking. You can click on the outside and click like this. And you might, you're going to have to adjust this just by a little bit, maybe like 190. Move some stuff, get some stuff out of the way if you have to. And then you're going to start essentially just going around this picture as best you can by clicking stuff. And it's not fun, so you have to outline it, click on the edges as best you can. And essentially what we're doing was we're outlining this image so that we can delete the background from it. So what's nice is actually from this point right here, you can click here, and then if you continue to hold down the cursor, you can drag out and curve the line. So we're going to curve the line just a little bit and then release, and then click this anchor, and this is going to be the direction of the next anchor. So go like this and see how it kind of just curves that. So that looks kind of bad. So just edit, undo, anchor, and you're going to have to play around with this just a little bit. So it's not the easiest thing to learn. Just it takes some time, so you'll get better as you go, and you're essentially just adding lines right all around this hand. And it's not the best process, but essentially what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to speed up this, and just you guys will get the general gist of what to do, and then I'll see you after I'm done. Alright guys, so I outlined the knife as best as possible. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. The more time you spend on it, the better it will look. So you're going to get to this point, drag out, it doesn't really matter, and then click and drag it to this anchor. And then now this is where the fun gets. So with this path tool open, the window, click this button, path to selection. Now hit Control I on your keyboard and then hit delete. And that will delete the background, and then you can go to layer, transparency, add to alpha channel, and hit delete again, and that removed the background. And when we click this fuzzy select tool, you have the knife outline already cut from the background. Now you can see that there's a little bit of blue on the guy's finger here from the background. Like I said, the more time you spend, the more you can get rid of it, but it isn't horrible. And then we also have some water in here that we're going to want to remove. So we're going to create a new path, and then we're going to go back to the path tool here, and then click, here, drag, drop, really basic stuff, just like that. Just want to remove this background. There we go. Control, delete, just like that. Click off the fuzzy select tool, and that's pretty much it. We pretty much have cut down the background out of this image, and it isn't perfect, but it's pretty damn good, and from a distance you won't even be able to tell. So from here we're going to go to File, and then you're going to go to Export As, and call this like Karambit Fade. Now this can be for any image if you want to do a gun or a Call of Duty character or whatever you want to do, and then you make sure the ending of it is called PNG. And hit Desktop, go to your folder and hit Export. Export, there we go, and export again, and then you are done. So now we're going to go back to our banner, our big beautiful banner, and then we are going to add that image in. So File, open as a layer. We're going to find that Karambit Fade now with the removed background, hit Open, and as you can tell, this thing is kind of big. And if you were to use the move tool and click on it, as we move it around, see how it kind of is too big for that? So we're going to actually go to the move tool, and then also another thing we want to do, dockable dialogues, tool options, and then go down here and click keep aspect control. So when you scale this, it doesn't wonk out. You can have this right aspect ratio and make it a pretty decent size so that it would fit in the middle. So we'll use that size, looks pretty good. And now when we move it, see how it snaps perfectly? You'll see how it kind of stops and snaps to that line that we created. And this might not be the perfect height for you. You can move it up a little bit. Just making sure that the hand, see how the hand's kind of cut off on this section right here? So what we're going to do is we're going to have a line right here that cuts through and have the different maps. So don't worry about that. But we'll have our name. We want our name pretty much centered as possible. So we'll keep this kind of offset to the right. So right about here looks pretty good. And then we can go to our layers. And then we are going to go to a new layer, just like that. And now we're going to do some filtering stuff and making this look cool. So I like how the fade is kind of a reddish purple. So we're going to go with like a red theme. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back on our web browser and we're going to look up fire particles, if I can spell particles. And this is just kind of something to add as the backdrop of this image, which I think looks pretty awesome. Here's one. Here's the one I used in my speed art. That one looks pretty cool. But you're going to look for something that looks nice. This one has like some pretty crazy dots, but it's not a good quality. So make sure you're finding one that's nice, good quality. We'll use this one because I think this one looks really nice. It's called Particles and Fire Motion Background. If you search fire particles, you should be able to find it. So you're going to click and drag and drop this into your folder. Go back to your Gimp, File, Open as Layer, and then find that fire particles. Click Open, and then we want this to be behind this Karambit Fade, so we're going to move it down with the Layers tool, and now we want it above this background, and now we're going to resize it so it's ginormous. And actually, what we might want to do is keep the aspect ratio off, actually, so we can adjust this and make it so that we're getting like a lot of the fire effect particles. in the middle of the banner. So that looks good. We'll hit scale from here. And then now, oh no, I ruined it. No, you didn't. Don't worry about it. So from here, we're going to change the opacity down. We're going to lower that opacity. We'll keep it at like 50. And then, before we even do this, I'm going to make sure you don't see this. What you can do with this mirage, and you can change the colorize. So you can go to colors, colorize, and now this is going to change the look of the image. So we're going to go with a red. So the hue for red is, I don't even know, somewhere up here, like 360, all the way up. Saturation, and that's just going to create if it's gray or super red. We'll keep it at kind of a little bit over past half, 64 saturation, and lightness if it's super dark, if it's pure white. So we're going to keep this kind of semi-dark, maybe -28 looks good, and hit OK. Now, from here, we're going to be able to look back on that fire particle effect. That looks awesome. And then we're going to create, we're going to actually remove this extra crap from the top. So we're going to click and drag a selection. We're going to make sure it looks good off the banner and hit delete. Delete. There you go. And do this again for this. Delete. And then we're also going to go to the Karambit Fade and do the same thing. So click on the layer that you want to delete from, delete the bottom of it just like that. So now you have the Karambit Fade, the fire particle background, and everything looking very nice. And then we're going to add a glow on the back of this side. So we're going to go to Script Foo, Layer Effects, Outer Glow, and then we're going to go to the glow, and we're going to want to do like a red, right? So that looks pretty awesome. So let's do like a dark, I don't know, red might not look great because it's kind of already on red. So maybe you want to do a complementary color, maybe like a dark purple would look good. So let's do this, okay. And now I'm not going to merge with layer, and I'm going to make the size pretty big. Let's do like 16. And you're going to see how it creates a outer glow. So that looks pretty cool. And then, I mean, you can mess around with this, whatever you want to do. We could go red if we wanted, just to see how this looks. Yeah, maybe I do like the red. So we actually, what it's done here is, oops, I actually didn't do it right. We have to remove that outer glow. Strip Foo, outer glow. Make sure it's not merging with layer. Apologies for that. Hit OK, and now I didn't do it on the right layer. See guys, Photoshop, it's not a seamless process. It takes a little bit of work. So make sure you have this selected, then hit Script Foo, then hit Outer Glow. Make sure it's not merged with layer and hit OK. There we go. So now it's outer layered, and on here we have a layer that's just the glow. And since that glow is a little bit too strong, we can reduce its opacity just by a little bit, just so it's glowing a little bit. So maybe like a 30 glow. Looks a little bit better. And if you don't like the color of the background and it's too bright, you can always hit colorize again. Oh, actually, this is the fire particles, isn't it? Hit cancel, and we're going to go to this mirage and then hit colorize. And if you don't like this, you can change its hue to be something like a purple if you want. So you can do whatever kind of color scheme you want here. Just mess around with the colorize, see what you like. We'll probably keep it for Reddit now. Make sure it's dark. Like that. That looks good. And now we're going to be adding your name. So from this step, we're going to go to Create New Layer. OK. And then click the text tool, which actually wasn't necessary. So I'm going to kind of create a name here. We'll just do... actually, let's just do your name. Write that, and then select it. Color, white. Excuse me. And then now you're going to type in your fonts. So I'm going to do B for Blitzwing. Blitzwing expanded italic, or bold italic probably. And then up the size. So that looks pretty awesome. We'll make it pretty big here. like that. 225 is pretty decent. Click it, drag it, and you see how it's not snapping right? Well, if we actually go back to this, drag this box up, and drag this box over so it actually fits well. Now when we move it, it will snap in the center of the image, which looks good. And what we can do is we can have this karambit fade. See how the E goes now behind it because we moved the thing up, and we can actually do the glow the same way, just like that. So that looks pretty awesome. And then you might want to adjust this. So if we actually go back to the overlay, we'll see how this is actually fitting in desktop, minimal, and mobile. So it's keeping in this aspect. So that's good. So that looks good from there. And then we're going to go back down. So this is so far your banner. Now we're going to go to your name, and this is where we're going to make it look nice and fancy. So we're going to go to Script Foo, Layer Effects, Bevel, and Emboss. Outer bevel to inner bevel, merge with layer, shadow color black, size 5, soften 0, that's fine, and hit OK. And now this is going to create like a really cool like hard edge to it that looks pretty cool. And then from here we can also go to Script Foo, Layer Effects, and drop shadow, merge with layer. 5 is fine, 5 is, hit OK, and that added like a drop shadow to your name. So it might be a little bit too close. So if you don't like that and you want to do edit, undo, I think it looks kind of just fine like that if you want to leave it. And then from here, we are going to add the different maps. So from that step, we're going to create a new layer. Actually, we already have an extra layer. We're just going to delete this one. All right, and now we're going to go to that path tool we used earlier to remove the background of the karambit fade. And we're going to select that. And then this is where you're going to want to get interesting. So we're going to click here and then click down here, and we're creating a straight line that's going to intersect at this guy's hand right here. So like that. And I won't make it like a super steep angle. Or I mean, actually I lied. You want to make it pretty steep. That looks pretty good. And we're going to click here. And essentially just making like a rectangle. And try to keep this the same size. So when you're looking at it, just kind of eye it, making sure that it looks at the same angle. It's a little bit too thick for my liking, so we can just adjust this just a little bit. That looks good. And then we're going to go back here. Click this, drag it over here so it's a rectangle. And then you're going to go to this to make a selection. Bucket fill tool, white, and click. And that will create a white line. And now you can see it's actually not over that, so we can move this layer all the way up to the top. There we go. And click off the screen, and there we have the intersecting line coming down, which looks good. So then from this layer, we're actually going to duplicate it with this tool. And then click the flip tool, which is right here, and click right here. And that will flip it to exactly the same size on the other side, which looks good. So from here, we might want to adjust our karambit fade a little bit. Maybe move it to the side. And as you can see, the actual glow of the image wasn't brought with it perfectly. So just going to eye it just a little bit, just like that. That looks good. And then we can adjust your name a little bit. Bring it back over. That looks great. So from here, we're going to do what we did earlier. And we're going to delete this excess on the top. So to do that, you're going to first merge these layers down. So click merge down. And then select this tool, rectangle tool, highlight over, get as near as possible, just like that, and do the same for the bottom, just like that. And as you can see, I did it a little bit too high, and there's a little bit of a gap down here. Same thing goes for the karambit fade. So if we actually go to the fade right here, we can select this tool, make sure it's just lined up perfectly, hit delete, go to the karambit, hit delete. There we go. That looks good. So making sure that that all lines up perfectly. So we don't have to really worry about this gap for now. We'll fix that in a bit. So 50%, we are good to go. And now from here, we are going to add different maps in these corners. So to do that, we're going to add a new layer, open as layer, and we're going to select the map and then drag it to, well, first we're going to want to scale it down. So scale down the map to your liking. Make it like probably about that size. That looks fine. Scale it, move it to like how you want it, maybe like that. Looks fine. And then from here, change the opacity a little bit, drop it down so you can see this white line behind it. And then take out the pencil tool and pick like a really bright color like red. And then make the size kind of big with the tool options. And then you're going to want to actually draw on the image, but don't cross that white line. See how I'm trying to keep it on the left side? And then kind of just go like that. And then from here, what we're going to do, you can change the opacity all the way up to 100 again. Looks how poopy this looks, right? Actually, you're going to click the fuzzy select tool, click on this, and hit delete. And you're going to see how that deleted that side of it. Well, now we're actually going to merge this layer down and see how that white line kind of covers up that nastiness. And then we're also going to use this tool to end. Chop off the top, chop off the bottom, just like that. Looks good. So now we have a side picture of this map on that side. We'll do the same for the other side. So File, Open as Layer. We're going to do Nuke for this one. And we're going to want to resize it just a little bit. Just like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And get to like that. Use the pencil tool. Draw on this side of the line. Ooh, I went over just a little bit. Just like that. Fuzzy select, click, delete. Just like that. And now, use this rectangle tool. Delete. Rectangle tool. Delete. And there you go. Really simple, guys. Now we actually have both maps. We have your name. Looks pretty epic. And then we have Nuke. And we have Mirage, which is down here somewhere. Right? Or actually, sorry. We have the particle fire. Now, if that's too strong of an effect, you can always reduce the opacity and make it not as present. Maybe just like that. That looks good. And we actually might want to move the particle fire up to all the layers. Yeah, maybe. So let's do that actually. And then from here, don't worry, we're going to actually change your name. We're going to move that layer up. We're going to move the Crambit Fade up. The Glow up. And that looks much better. Now we have the effect on the outside images as well. And then also what we're going to want to do is, here we go. So we have this image and CSGO Nuke. So we actually can merge these two down so they're the same. So when I go like this, you see both images disappear. Go to Color, Colorize. And now we're going to change these to kind of a red. Kind of do like a dark red. So they don't have to be perfect, just as good as you can get them. You can maybe look a little dark. That looks good. And then hit OK. So that looks fantastic. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add white bars around this image. So we're going to go to this top, click File, OK, new file, sorry, and then go to Selection, click this, drag it over, bring it down just a little bit so it kind of goes over the layer. Just like this. That looks pretty good. Fill tool, color white. Just like that. That looks good. We're going to duplicate this. Click it and drag it. And then you want to get it to kind of the same area. So that looks good right about there. And if we click off the screen, that looks awesome. So now we're going to add the backdrop into your thing, and we'll also add the social media. Let's do the social media first. So File, Open as Layer. What did we do? We had the social media, right? Right, there we go. Open. And these are actually pretty good size, so we'll bring this up here. Go up to 400%. That's too far. 100%. There we go. And then File. This selection tool, and then we're just going to crop these out of that. So we're going to. Oh, that's going to delete it all. Sorry. So we actually can do that first. We could do this. And that. That looks really weird, right? We can use this tool and delete it. And then we want to go to image transparency, add alpha channel, delete. There we go. And actually, I messed up. I'm going to undo all this stuff. Alright, and then from here, we're just going to fuzzy select, hit delete. Why is it doing red? Weird. White. We want white. Colorize, tools, layer, add alpha channel, delete. There we go. And that deleted the background for all of these. It looks good. It looks great. So from here, we're probably not going to have any of these. So we honestly are just going to delete these because we're not going to need those. So selection tool, just delete those suckers. Who needs them? And then we're going to resize these ones to be a little bit smaller because they're a little big right now. And this is where you're going to want to make sure that you maintain aspect ratio so these circles look like the same size. Scale, move tool, and then you can move these. I don't know if you want to put them directly underneath it. You could put them over here to this side, wherever you feel best. I guess we'll put them over here, I guess. So that looks good. Put them in this top hand corner, just like that. Colorize. We can desaturate them to make them gray, and then, or black and white, I should say. So that looks actually pretty good. We'll do luminosity, hit OK, and then we'll hit script foo, outer glow. That looks good. Not that big though, for sure. Do like 5. There you go. And now we have the little red outer glow on it. Looks nice. And then from here, File, Open as Layer. I'm going to go back to that very original Mirage picture. We're going to bring this all the way to the bottom, behind everything. Just like that. We're going to click it, make it nice and beautiful. Fit the whole back of the image. Just like that. And we're going to do color, colorize. Do you want to do that dark red again? Keep it a little bit lighter, just like that. And this really isn't like super necessary, but feel free to add, like, you know, use my promo code or your actual handles for these. So feel free to do that. And then we're going to go to filters, blur, Gaussian. We'll do like 10. And that's going to blur the back image just like that. And then just like a little extra detail I think that makes this banner really pop out is you can go back here to the background, create a new image, make sure it's like above this background image right here. So right here, do a selection tool, maybe like it like this big, just like that. Go to the gradient tool, do black, go to the tool options, do FG to transparent, hold control, drag about halfway up, and that's gonna add like a really cool fading to the background. Fuzzy select off, and then we're gonna take this layer 4, we're gonna duplicate it, we're gonna go to the rotate tool, click on it, rotate it 180 degrees, click rotate, and boom, it translated it all the way to the other side. Made it look fantastic. So that's pretty much it, guys. From here, all you have to do is save. So file, export as YouTube banner 2016 or whatever. Make sure the file extension is a JPEG. Go to desktop, go to CSGO or your folder, click export, and quality 100%, crank that up. And there you go, guys. You have made your own YouTube banner, and it looks absolutely baller. Like, absolutely baller. I think for being absolutely free, you can make pretty amazing stuff in Gimp. So if you guys enjoyed today's tutorial, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I put a lot of work in my videos, and it just means a whole ton to me if you guys would check out my channel, my other videos. And I have a CSGO time-lapse banner I did, and which has inspired me to make this tutorial for you guys, and a bunch of other stuff. And if you guys would like to make a banner for you, they're not free, but if you contact me through my Twitter, send me a private message, and I might be able to hook you one up for pretty cheap. I'm talking only like 10 to 20 bucks, depending on how long I would have to work on it. So if you don't want to do this yourself, you can always contact me. I'd be willing to make people some banners. And that's pretty much it for the video. Once again, thank you, and have an awesome rest of your day. Peace.